I've long thought the whole idea of budgeting and forecasting that CEOs have to do, they provide quarter by quarter forecasts of their earnings, oftentimes providing budgets and forecasts going out 5 years, to be one of the absolute silliest things of all time. Because it's impossible. It's truly impossible to predict where, kind of how much money a company is going to earn, certainly over time, in a year, 3 years, 5 years, but even in a quarter to quarter, because things change, variables that are not in the control of that company, primarily, obviously, most obviously, interest rates, that have immense impacts upon a company's ability to produce. And so forecasting is impossible. The same thing is true in economics in general. And so I laugh when I see economic professionals, economists, otherwise known as economists, making forecasts about the impact of things and policies as though the world is static. I remember one of my very first classes in college, and the professor kept talking about in a perfect world. That was his preamble. So in a perfect world, if this happened, then that would happen. And if that happened, then this would happen. And I raised my arm, and he called on me, and I said, has there ever been a perfect world? And he said, no. And I said, so why are you teaching us this impractical knowledge that has no value? And he didn't like me after that, probably why I got a B. But I realized in that class what too few people realize, I think, to this day. They watch the news and they hear economists saying that the tariff ideas proposed by Trump and his administration are definitely going to result in this and definitely going to result in that. And it's so stupid. It's just a stupid thing to think about, because there are an infinite amount of variables and reactions that might occur to the threat of the tariff, let alone the tariff itself. And saying anything with certainty, it just betrays a level of ignorance on the part of those saying it, whether it be the economists or the TV announcers and journalists that repeat those idiotic predictions as though they were a fact, and actually nailing it down to, like, I've heard people say, the Trump tariffs are going to be $600 per person cost in the country. It's so laughably dumb. So what we really need is to entrust and empower people in office who have a history of navigating complex situations, because it's like chess. You make a move, and then others make moves, and you need to react to those moves. And so it happens in real time. So there's no way to say this idea is good or this idea is bad. The good and bad is this idea in the hands of someone who's qualified could be very good. And that idea in the hands of someone not qualified, the same idea perhaps, could be very bad and could lead to very bad outcomes. So it's really qualifications as measured by the ability to tack and weave and respond to changing conditions. And that's what we could be sure of. There will be changing conditions.